There has been an open acknowledgement of the importance of teaching and learning that is grounded in compassion, in understanding, in co-creation, in community-based teaching, flexibility, and for all educational engagements. There has been a paradigm shift. We all are witnessing that. This paradigm shift is focusing on humanizing the education sector, focusing on values in higher education, moving towards exciting ways of envisioning the education of the 21st century.
The COVID-19 pandemic has hit the world hard in many ways, and especially affected education. But in this too, EdTech has come as a sort of savior to keep the momentum in education going and prevent students from losing precious years. As a publisher of over 5 decades, books have been very close to my heart, and I have always wanted to spread the knowledge of books as wide as possible.
During my journey in higher education for 40 years, if we encourage the students, if we motivate the students, if we inspire the students, if we help the students, if we stand with them, if we open the doors for them, if we listen to them, if we make the class happy, we have a ministry of happiness here. No stress, no tension. Make them free to talk. You will see a lot of brilliant ideas from them.
The pandemic, we all of us know that hastened the whole approach of a digital learning, of the online environment in education, especially education that has been immense effect of the pandemic. So the whole system where the incoming of digital tool and the physical lessening of the physical effect, the whole balance, but the finding a balance between the two platforms and attracting students of all the engagements that a digital platform brings. That is, I think, will be deliberated deeply in the conference today.
Think outside the box and to think inside the circles. Find new and more effective ways of doing things and reaching others who have not been served in the past. A similar message to mine is communicated in the flyer announcing this Global Conclave, and the flyer states, the conclave will serve as a mutual learning experience to know what is happening in different parts of the world, of contemporary thinking on alternate pathways of learning, the transformative role of the existing institution and people involved therein. In my opinion, those transformative roles for scholars, for schools and colleges will be to shape studies, shape students, and shape society.
These systems could be responsibly used in a classroom, as long as it's transparent how it's being used, and the purpose is very clearly articulated and understood by the instructor. So this is where I think faculty are going to need to very quickly have discussions among themselves about these issues, especially in writing intensive subjects and disciplines.
I'm going to use a quote from Alvin Toffler from his famous book, Future Shock. The illiterate of 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Having a strong leader makes a world of difference for educators and teachers, particularly who want to improve their skills for their students and improve their student experience and help change lives.
And our history was training teachers to teach in London schools, but we've come a long way over the last 120 years. We have numbers of different departments and focus on all aspects of education.
Both leadership and excellence are loaded terms. I think you would agree. They are subject to interpretation. Now we can talk in general about
generically 4 kinds of leadership. It could be democratic, could be authoritarian, could be laissez-faire, could be transformational, because that's what we want to see very often. But these are never pure categories, not mutually exclusive. I think all leaders may have some traits of these things. And then excellence also, what is the general idea of excellence? It means something exceptional, extraordinary, better than others. You can apply to a person, a thing, action, outcome.
When I landed to the United States back in 1980s, there was no internet in the current sense. There was no laptops, definitely no cell phones. And what we had at that time at the University of Wisconsin, Madison, was the big frame computers.
A couple of years back, when I visited one of the schools for addressing the students of class 11 and 12, after my presentation, the principal of the school asked the students, "You have any questions?" And one of the students stood up and asked me a question. And hearing the question, I was a little upset because that had nothing to do with the topic. You know what question he asked me? He asked me, "Sir, where do you buy your milk?" I said, "That has nothing to do with the topic which I have done." "No, sir, please answer my question." I said, "Fine. I buy it from the nearby milk booth." He said, "Where do you buy your medicines?" I said, "I buy it from my chemist nearby." And you won't stop there, even for the third question. "Where do you buy your cosmetics?" I said, "I buy from the nearest shop." I said, "Your questions are no relevant to the topic I've been talking." He said, "Yes, sir, that is it." He said, "You want milk, you go to your milk booth. You want medicine, you go to your chemist shop. And you want cosmetics, you go to your mall. Why do you want me to go to the same school for physics, chemistry, and biology?"
Significant transformation in the entire ecosystem of education. So the entire ecosystem of education is affected. And in fact, COVID caused major disruption, but it was, I'm sorry to use this word, it was a blessing in disguise.
Consider a utopian view, and I'm going to ask you to put your hands up. Are you more on the utopian side or more on the dystopian side? But utopian view, digital tech and education will do all of this. Personalized learning you've heard about, enabling every child across the world to learn. We've got connectivity everywhere. Every child can learn. It'll be the highest quality possible. Universal, there'll be a trademark. They'll use these resources and solve all your problems for life. We've had ChatGPT, Professor Cornwall earlier. There's a great learning tool. My son's a teacher, and he hasn't been frightened by this as most of my academic friends have, because he uses this in his teaching with his he teaches history and not science, so he teaches about how we learn from that in as part of the learning environment, etc., etc. And it's cost effective. You can do this, I'll sell it to you, you can do this for $100 a child. They will have digital learning, fantastic, and it's cheap. The dystopian view is a little bit different. Digital tech increases inequalities. It leaves out those who can't afford it. Remember that cartoon by Alan. Universal content has a single truth. It misses the diversity and minorities. It's controlling. Children's data is mined. That's the only interest companies want it, to mine children's data, to improve their systems, get more money out of it. And the virtual is vastly better than the real world.
How many of you have heard of 3D printing?
Yeah, we all have.
All of us. Wasn't it a big thing? Every affluent school had a 3D printing lab, and the kids were printing dinosaurs and showing them at the parent-teachers meeting that, this is building great design skills. What happened to that technology? Do we even talk about it?
I think recently a house was constructed here in the UAE with on the 3D.
There is an office which was constructed. This is just across DIFC.
Yes, exactly.
Which is sort of a showcase for how 3D printing could be used. It's a really nice building, right? Yeah. But was there another office or a building made after that?
So
no, I'm telling you that. No. So there are certain fads and technologies that we encounter every now and then, we should pause and let the dust settle down before going headlong into saying that metaverse is the next big thing.
Since the morning, we had many other kinds of things that we talked. We talked about happiness, we talked about harmony, we talked about empathy, we talked about ethics. So many other things we talked. We just didn't talk about school alone. That is, I think, is a very interesting way things emerged as we went ahead, beginning from the first session.
Now, I've cited it in my paper. I provided the reader with access to the AI-generated essay. Could my essay be an academically acceptable piece of original writing? Reflexively, I think many academics would recoil at this notion, but we must examine the fundamental question of the assignment's purpose.
Thank you.